Okay, so we're still working on Unit 7 Quadratic Equations, Foldable. And we are on yellow on top and blue on bottom. We're learning how to put things back into root form. For whenever they're already in standard form, to put them back in root form, we need to factor. So remember, that was the target product, the target sum, and then the box method. So remember that your B is always your target sum. So we're trying to add to get -2. Your target product is always your A times your C. There is no A, well, it's 1. And then your C is -24. So it's 1 times -24, which is just -24. So we need to think of factors of -24. We have 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. And we need to make it negative, and we're trying to add to get -2. So which one of these can we put together to make -2? So if you look at this, if we add 4 and have a positive 4 and we subtract 6 from it, that would give us -2. So this is what we're going to use. Now we make our box. Okay, so just because this is a review, I'm going to color code it a little bit for you. Remember that your m squared always goes in the top left box. Your C part, which is -24, always goes in the bottom right box. And then your two factors always go in the other two boxes, and we're going to put x's with them. So it's not just 4, it's going to be 4x, and it's not just -6, it's going to be -6x. Okay, then we have to come up with the outside part. So m squared, the way that you get m squared is by multiplying m times m. Oh, these should be m's and not x's. Sorry. What times m gives you 4m? It's 4. What times m gives you -6m? It's -6. So these are our factors. So whenever we write our equation, it will now be y equals, and then these two factors are what we're going to use. So m minus 6 and m plus 4. And we're done. All right, this one is done basically the same way. Our target sum is -4. Our target product is 1 times -12, which is just -12. We come up with factors of 12. We have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. So which one of these can we use to get -4? Well, 1 and 12, there's no way for us to get -4 from that. 3 and 4, there's no way to get -4 from that. But if we have +2 and -6, that gives us -4. So again, you make your box. We have b squared, and we have -12. Remember that the b squared comes from this right here. The -12 just comes from this back end of it. And then these two are what goes in that box and this box here. I'm going to have to erase that to have room in a minute, but I wanted you to know where it was coming from. Okay. Factors of b squared is just b times b. What times b gives me 2b? It's 2. What times b gives me negative 6b? Negative 6. So now this will make my new equation. Y is equal to b minus 6 and b plus 2. Next ones, now we actually do have a values. So our target sum is still just negative 16. Our target product comes from our 2 times our 14. So 2 times 14, which is 28. So 28 factors. We have 1 and 28, 2 and 14. Oh, 3 doesn't go into it. Sorry. 4 and 7. Okay, so which one of these can we use to make negative 16? There is no way to make negative 16 from 1 and 28. There is no way to make negative 16 from 7 and 4. Even added together, it's 11. So 2 and 14 are the only ways. Well, how can I make 2 and 14 be negative 16? The only way is if they're both negative. So negative 16. So we have 2n squared, we have 14. And then of course we use these two in our other two spots. So negative 2n and negative 14n. So we have 2n. Okay, that is not the way that we do this problem. Okay, if you look at this problem, you can see that there is a number that goes into all three of these. What number goes into 2, negative 16, and 14? Well, it's 2. So we're going to divide everything by 2. And then our answer will be y equals 2, and then 2 sets of parentheses that we don't know yet. That's what we're going to end up finding. So 2 divided by 2 is just 1. Negative 16 divided by 2 is negative 8. 14 divided by 2 is 7. This is a lot easier for us to deal with. So our target sum is now negative 8. Our target product is 1 times 7. So factors of 7 that give us negative 8. Our only factors of 7 are 1 and 7. How can we get 1 and 7 to be negative 8? The only way is to make them both negative. So now we have our box. And since we've done so much more work on here than normal, I'm going to go ahead and color code. We have n squared in the top left. We have 7 in the bottom right. Then we have negative 1, but we're going to put an n with it, and then negative 7, and we're going to put an n with it. N squared is really just n times n. And what times n gives me negative 7n? Negative 7. What times n gives me negative 1n? Negative 1. So this is what goes in the parentheses down below. So we have n minus 1 and n minus 7. Yes, you can flip those around. It's still all the same answer. In this last one, there is not a number that can go out of all three of these. So we're going to have to do it a little differently. Remember, target sum is still always B. So it's 10. But our target product will change, because now we actually have an A to worry about. So we now have this one and the -8. So 3 times -8 is really -24. So now we got to find factors of -24. 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and 4 and 6. So which one of these can we use to make positive 10 out of a -24? There is no way to make 10 out of 1 and 24. There is no way to make 10 out of 3 and 8. We can make 10 out of 2 and 12, and we can make 10 out of 4 and 6. To make 10 out of 2 and 12, 2 has got to be negative and 12 has got to be positive. To make 10 out of 4 and 6, they both have to be positive. So how do we get -24? Which one of those will give me a -24 when I multiply them? Well, positive 4 times positive 6 gives me a positive 24. So it cannot be that one. It has to be this one. That'll give me a -24. So we do our box. And remember, we have 3x squared that goes in the top left. We have -8 goes in the bottom right. And then we have our factors right here that will go top right and bottom left. So -2x and 12x. Okay, now we got to look at it and see. Our factors of 3 are only 3 and 1. So will our 3 go with our 12 or with our 2? Well, 3 only goes into 12. 3 will not go into 2 evenly. So the 3 has to go right above the 12. So it has to be there and there. This is one time when it does matter what order you write these in. The 3x has to go with your 12. And then the x has to go with your -2. And the reason is because of what I'm about to say right now. What times 3 gives me 12x? If we had switched it, there is nothing times 3 that will give you -2. That's why it has to be done that way. Okay, so what times 3x gives me 12x? It's just 4. What times x gives me -2x? -2. And these are my new equations. Y is equal to x plus 4 and 3x minus 2. So that is converting standard form to vertex form. Or root form, I'm sorry. Standard form to root form. Now we've got to do standard to vertex form. Okay, to complete the square, it actually writes out over here on the left, telling you exactly what you should do and in what order. So the first thing you have to do is write equation with 2 blanks, one after bx and one after c. That may not make a lot of sense, but I'm about to do it for you. So, step 1, you're going to rewrite it, but with the following blanks. You're going to have m squared minus 16m, and then you're going to have a blank, and then plus 15, and then you're going to have another blank, and that equals y. So all I did is put these 2 blanks in my equation that you saw up above. The second thing we're going to do is divide b by 2, and then we're going to square that number. So the second step, my b, it says it right here, is negative 16. And we're going to divide that by 2, which is negative 8. And now that we have negative 8, we're going to square it. Negative 8 squared is 64. I'm sorry. So that is my second step. My third step. That number goes in the first blank and its opposite goes in the second. So I'm actually making that my third step. So now that I have this same equation with my blanks, what I'm going to write, and here I'll change the color so that you can see what's going on. We have 64 right here. So what I'm going to put in my blanks is a plus 64 on the left and a minus 64 on the right. And then we will simplify that. So what we have is m squared minus 16m plus 64, and then we're going to combine these two together, which is really minus 49 equals y. Okay, the fourth step is rewrite as factored trinomial plus k. That's just a lot of gibberish, just to say to factor it, kind of like we did before. I'm only factoring a part of it. This is the only part that I'm actually factoring. Okay, and it will be factored. Whenever we factor it, it'll be a square, so the same will be on top as it is on the left, and you'll see that in just 1 second. So our answer will be y equals something in parentheses squared, and then we continue this part here, so minus 49. Okay, we still need to factor this. We have m squared and 64. We have to come up with our factors of 64. 1 and 64, 2 and 32, 3 and 20, no, that's right. Oh, 3 doesn't go into 64. Sorry. 4 and 24, 6. 6, no, 7, no, 8 and 8. Okay, which one of these can I put together to give me negative 16? There is no way to get negative 16 from 1 and 64. There's no way to get negative 16 from 2 and 32. There is no way to get negative 16 from 4 and 16. But if I make both of these negatives, it will give me negative 16. So negative 8m and negative 8m. My factors of m squared are m and m. What times m gives me negative 8? What times m gives me negative 8? So as you can see, this one and this one are the exact same, which is what I said before. That's, since they're both the exact same, we're going to put only one here, and we squared it. Okay, and then don't forget that your negative 49, this part right here, came from this part right here. Okay, let me take that off so y'all can see it a little better. But the negative 49 just came in from the end. So now we are done with that problem. Next problem. Oops, went too far. We're almost done with foldable. Okay, so same type of process. First thing, write in your blanks. And your answer will still be the same. It'll be y equals something squared, and then with something on the end. And we got to find out what that something is. The second thing we have to do is your b, which is -6. We're going to divide that by 2, which is -3. After we've got that, we're going to square it, which is 9. So now my 9 is going to go in the blanks, both a positive way and a negative way. So +9 and -9. So whenever I rewrite it, I'm going to rewrite this part. I will have n squared minus 6n plus 9. That's going to be the part that I factor. And then at the very, very end, oh, pink looks too much like purple. Let's do something different. Let's do blue. At the very end, we're going to go ahead and put this to combine. So -55 minus 9 is -64 down at the end. That's also what will be here at the end on your answer. So we need to factor the purple part. And I'll keep using purple so that y'all can see that's what I'm doing. N squared, 9 over here, factors of 9, 1 and 9, and 3 and 3. Which one will give me this -6 here? Well, -3 and -3. -3n, -3n. Factors of n squared are n and n. What times n gives me -3n? -3. What times n gives me -3n? -3. So that's what goes here, n minus 3. And now we're done with that problem. That's our final answer. And then we're doing the exact same thing with the next problem. First step, k squared plus 12k blank minus 64 blank equals y. Second step is to do all that stuff to our b. Our b is 12, so 12 divided by 2. You just have to remember that's divided by 2. There is really no formula. So that's 6. And then you just have to remember that whatever that answer is, you got to square it. And 6 squared is 36. So that 36 now goes here. So 36 is now plus 36 and minus 36. So whenever we rewrite it, this part's going to be the part that we factor. So it will be k squared plus 12k plus 36. And then the back end stuff, this right here, we're going to combine. -64 minus 36 is minus 100. So we have our box. We've got to factor the red, and only the red. The green we're going to carry on to the end, so we're only factoring the red right now. So we have k squared and 36. Factors of 36. We have 36. 36 is 1 and 36, 6, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, and 6 and 6. Well, how do we get 12 from any of these? This doesn't give me 12. 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 6 plus 6 is what gives me 12. 6k and 6k. What are factors of k squared? K and k. What times k gives me 6k? 6. What times k gives me 6k? 6. So now whenever we write our answer, it's y equals something squared, and your red is what will go in that parentheses. It's just k plus 6. And then do not forget about your green. Remember I told you it has to be saved to the end. Well, it still has to come down. So minus 100. And then that is our answer. We are now done with our foldable. You can do the day 3 stuff. And then tomorrow we will review, finish up the packet, and then I believe you have a test on Friday. I have to look to make sure.